Now, let's pick up from that conversation we had with the UDM leader, Bantu Holomisa. The Democratic Alliance is opposing the ANC's application to the Electoral Court, seeking to reopen its candidate list system. The ANC saying yesterday that it experienced numerous technical difficulties with the IEC's registration system. This prevented the party from registering some of its candidates. But the DA says this reasoning holds no water, and the court should dismiss the ANC's application based on past precedents. In 2016, the National Freedom Party failed to pay its registration fee on time, and the IEC barred its candidates from contesting the local government elections. Let's bring in the DA's IEC representative now, Werner Horn, who joins us via Zoom. Mr. Horn, thank you so much for making time. I see that you're citing what's happened in the past when political parties missed the deadline, but the ANC says it's not a case of having missed deadline. It's a case of having faced some frustrations with the IEC system. They've got evidence that they did, in fact, submit the lists on time.
Yeah, look, obviously, when you make an averment in court proceedings, you must prove it. And I would expect that the IEC from their side would be able to, through a electronic date and time stamp and a chain of events, be able to put before the court the exact information as to which party populated the online registration system of candidates at what time with what information. What I, however, want to say is that from our side, we did not experience any technical difficulties. But then again, from our side, we've had our candidate interviews during March and April, precisely because we knew that the COVID pandemic would invariably bring some challenges to political parties. Political parties knew that the cutoff date and time would have been the 23rd of August from the 6th of July already. And the information we have is that the ANC only started capturing candidates' information on the IEC system on Monday the 23rd, which simply didn't leave them enough time, in our view, to capture everything they wanted to. Information is, of course, also in the public domain of the ANC experiencing lots of internal ructions about their candidate selection processes. And it would not be, I think, improbable to say that ultimately their lack of preparation was what caught them rather than technical glitches of the IEC system.
So you think they only left it up to the last minute? Because, as you say, the process, the online system was opened, was it from the 3rd already? So they had ample time to make the submissions, and also they had an opportunity to make submissions physically as well. I mean, the online system was not the only option, and I mean, online systems, those are digital systems. So in some instances, you're bound to get some technical glitches, especially when you're rushing something and putting in too many applications or submitting too many things at the last minute at the same time.
Well, exactly. But if you recall, it's a matter of public record that the ANC said its NEC would only adopt its candidates lists on the Saturday and the Sunday. And you're quite correct. Obviously, if they experienced technical glitches, they were at liberty to print out their lists and to submit them at the designated IEC office in every municipality. If one looks carefully, of course, also at the technical glitches the ANC now complains about, it's all about some of their candidates not being registered correctly. And in that sense, it's ironic. I also caught some of your conversation with General Holomisa just before I came on, that we were the only party who rejected or opposed the timetable of the IEC on the basis that it did not allow properly for even potential candidates to register well enough in time for them to be included in parties' candidates lists. So, in fact, yes, there was an additional hurdle parties had to jump over in this round of candidate submissions, and that is that you had to double check whether your candidates were registered correctly. And from the Ms. Duarte's press conference or Zoom briefing yesterday, I got the sense that the ANC only realized that this was an additional issue they were facing on the Monday when they started capturing candidates' details on the system, and it was rejected because those candidates were not registered correctly.
So on what basis then are you, as the DA, going to be opposing this application by the ANC? Are you going to be requiring that they bring evidence, which, as I indicated, they say they have, that they did make their submissions on time? This is not a case of them having missed the deadline. It's just a case of them having faced some glitches that may have disadvantaged some of their members that are on those lists.
Well, yes, as I say, in our law, the principle is he who makes an averment must bring the proof, sustain that averment. So it is for the ANC to prove that there were technical glitches with the IEC system. And as I said, I'm expecting the IEC, of course, to have a proper trial and back documents reflecting the whole chain of events that specifically in respect of electronic submission. But to turn to your question as to the basis for our opposition, the basis for our opposition is found in the precedent that has been set in both the 2011 and the 2016 elections, in which both our Electoral Court and the Constitutional Court ultimately held that the timetable and the cut-off dates and times were there as a mechanism to ensure free and fair elections, and that for the IEC to bend to pressure to facilitate late submission after cut-off dates and times would bring into question the freeness and fairness of elections. It's all about the integrity of the processes. And once again, as I said, it's not as if any of us were blindsided by the fact that the 23rd were the final date for submission of candidates lists. So unless there's very clear evidence that the IEC system was at the heart of the problem, we can't see that the court can, just because the ANC is the governing party in most probably all of that 30 to 35 municipalities where it failed to submit candidates in every ward, that ultimately can play no role in determining whether the ANC should be allowed to file on a late basis additional candidates lists.